Hello, everybody. I'm a disembodied head, and I've come here tonight to meet Shan Beaste. Is it pronounced Shan Beaste? I've only ever read your name, Shan Beaste.
Yeah.
What's your real name,
that's
Shan
it.
Beaste?
Shan Beaste. That's it.
That's her real name. Seven's not my real sign.
Yeah.
It's
Are
nearly
you guys
seven.
gonna talk?
It's actually, I'm going to bleep this part out, but it's actually, so it's close enough.
Oh.
It's the same name
Yeah.
if you've had far too much bourbon. All right, cool. Shan Beaste is a person
That's
that I've met
fine.
recently within the circles that I travel in. I mean, I don't just walk in circles. That'd be weird. You'd never get anywhere. But the people that I know, Shan has emerged from the center. Some of you might have seen her on Snappy's channel recently. Drawing Down Dragons, it's called now. Used to be Drawing Down the
Drawing down
Stars.
the dragon. Yeah.
And we just seem to have a similar sense of humor. So I thought I should talk to you. And you're especially into the sound stuff, aren't you? I don't know that much about you at all. This is why it's going to be so interesting. So, would you like to introduce yourself, Shan? Who are you? What do you do? Why are you here? Why are you talking to a disembodied head?
So I'm a certified sound therapist and energy worker, which is kind of what you and I connected with because you're also interested in energy work and sound. Now you get pretty mathy about it and you might see my eyes glaze over if we talk numbers.
Too, believe me. Yeah,
Okay,
no,
okay.
I see the other people that we frequent with, they're like, maths. I'm like, yeah, I can do it. I force myself to do it. I just found myself here. I hate maths too. It's not natural to me. In fact, I don't think it's natural to anything. Don't do maths, guys. It's bad for you.
It's beautiful. It's a language, but it's just, it's not where my head is at. So I go blank face. I'm a singer. I'm a musician. I'm super into getting people back into their bodies just to experience ourselves more fully. So that's more or less the focus of my practice is getting us out of this like crazy mental space that we're all locked into. Talking about circumambulating, I feel like that's all we do is we like circumambulate in our minds the same thoughts over and over and over again to madness. I want us to pull it down into the body, ground it so we can keep our shit together. You know what I mean? Because
absolutely,
a lot of us and your viewers as well, they're probably interested in the same things as you, and they're probably studying and staying up late doing the good work. But we want to keep it, we want to keep ourselves from going crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's easy to do in these arts, is it not? There's so much weirdness out there, so much disinformation, and so many blinds and secrets that it's really difficult to get your head around without somebody to teach you, somebody to hold your hand.
Yeah. And even just in like magical workings and things. I know I mentioned to you recently, I was like, I'm going through some shit right now. I'm going through it. Because there is that phenomenon in the magical community where you reach these different plateaus and you just like, you have to break these paradigms and shatter belief systems. And it's really intense. And you think you've done the work, and then like healing is like a spiraling upward, shedding the skin over and over and over again. And you meet the same things in different aspects. And you're like, I thought I already did this. And then you have to do it again, different layer. So
did you learn from last time?
Yeah,
that's the question, isn't it? Yeah. So have you had any recent blockages? Sure. I've had quite a few. I always see them as resistors, but as they often say, the obstacle is the way. You just got to find a path over it or around it, or as you say, learn from your last experience and try and get over it, try and get through it.
What's in the way is the way. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's much more simple than mine. What's in the way is the way. I like that.
I think that's a Taoist principle.
Oh, it's
I think.
Well, everything you said about putting yourself into the body seems very Taoist as well. There's quite a few practices. I've been doing a lot of Tai Chi and things like that recently. I've been an external martial artist most of my life, but I've really brought it in recently. And just bringing the mind into the body does amazing things. I mean, amazing things. Just simple things like relaxation. I found this thing, I can't even describe it to people. I'll have a little go. When you, everybody out there, when you're post-coital, sometimes you have a very relaxed feeling. Like a very, oh my God, everything feels fine. I don't want to move. And there's like a light butterfly kind of tingly feeling right in the core of you. And you can feel it in your arms and your legs. And I've managed to put my mind into my body so much that I can activate that whenever I want to. I just had a little sleep before this interview. And just as I woke up, I did exactly that. I just stopped thinking, put my mind into my body and just searched for this deep relaxation at my core. Oh my word, it feels so good. I just don't want to move when I'm doing it. It's difficult to maintain. You need to have the concentration to do it. But oh my word, it's like putting your mind into the middle of your bones is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. That's a great way to explain it. That's beautiful. You really can. You really can. I mean, the old cliche saying, energy flows where attention goes.
That is Taoist.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm full of Taoist principle and wisdom tonight. Don't know. Thank you, Mias. So, yeah, but that's true. You really can. And part of healing and part of energy work and sound therapy, what we learn through practice and meditation and things like Tai Chi and Qigong, we learn how to cultivate deep awareness very effortlessly eventually, right? And you start to really feel sensations in your body, don't you?
Yes, you really do. It's beautiful. I've been doing the shamanic stuff for a good while now, and this is just another addition to it. However, you just said you get blockages, and you do. And after you've left those blockages, you suddenly become aware that you've leveled up. And I do feel recently that it's been a while, but I have leveled up. And it gives you the confidence to go to the next stage. I don't think you're ever finished until you become a light body and ascend to the stars,
Yeah.
If that's not nonsense.
That's the truth, Ryan. That's the truth. It's like never ending. That's the human experience. But I think the key to our sanity is to really try to see the beauty in all the moments, even the painful ones. And that really helps to keep us clear when we're suffering, because we will suffer constantly. So if we try to see the beauty in the suffering and enjoy the experience that we get to have as humans, then it kind of gives it another level of grace that's super important, instead of us wallowing deeply in despair, unyieldingly.
That's that circumambulation of the mind. That's what depression is it not? The repeating of the same thoughts over and over again, even though you've done with them. Logically, you have worked it through, but there's something addictive about the mind that likes to wallow in its own misery.
Yeah, it does, because the mind I'm not going to say the mind, the brain, which is separate from the mind, is like a computer system, and its focus is survival, right?
Yeah. Problem solving. That's why it's trying to solve a problem. Yeah.
Problem solving and survival.
Yeah, most thoughts are inherently negative because they're a thing to be solved. That's what the brain does. You don't go to the beach and go and start thinking hard. It's more of a heart feeling, isn't it? It's like, oh, it's nice here. It's when you're in the city that, you start thinking.
Yeah, seriously. That's so real too, because I just moved from very, very isolated country living to one of the craziest cities. And it's like been so intense. My nervous system has been going haywire. So I'm really trying to remember the tools in my toolbox, like we're talking about the survival mode of the brain, which relates to the nervous system, and also the triple warmer meridian. If you're familiar with the triple warmer meridian, it works with the spleen meridian. So before I get too into this, let me think about how I want to approach it. Are you aware of the meridians and the body?
I am, yeah. Sometimes my problem is I've come from Japanese studies into Chinese studies, and I'm trying to English it. So half the names I know are in Japanese, the other half are in Chinese, and the rest I make up on the spot. So if you can give me the path of what they link to, I'll probably know them.
You'll definitely know this. Okay, so triple warmer is like a super duper important meridian pathway. For anybody watching this who doesn't understand what the meridians are, a very simple way to understand it is that they're like energetic highways that go through your body, and each of them pass through at least one organ system. And so they kind of are responsible for supporting that organ and the energetic information there, as well as the physical elements of the organ. So the triple warmer is super unique, and the only organ that it doesn't siphon energy from when we're in constant fight or flight is the heart. But everything else it can pull energy from. The triple warmer meridian works really closely with the spleen also, and the spleen helps us to integrate experiences, conversations, information, etc. So we want to make sure the spleen is really healthy so we integrate our daily experiences. Triple warmer helps us by doing that. They work together for the immune system, but they also work directly with the nervous system. Triple warmer is like the knight of the meridian system. He's like super sexy, and he's like, baby, let me help you. I got you. Hop on my horse. We'll ride into the night. Don't worry about it. So anytime something is different or scary, triple warmer's like, I got you, girl. Let's go. And so he like kind of overreacts, and he tries to protect you. So you have to train him. Just like any guy, you got to train him not to freak out.
We have to train ourselves. We're quite aware of it. We're all feral.
You got to train him not to freak out, and you can tell him. So you can start here for triple warmer, and then you brush behind the ear, the neck, down the back of the arm, and then pinch off the ring finger. That's triple warmer meridian. And if you do it from the temple, you're saying, hey, I got this. I'm noticing I'm feeling nervous and anxious. Triple warmer, I got this. And it'll start to recognize those patterns of times that you feel that way. And eventually it will, feel so good. It'll train you to, it'll train itself to not overreact to those situations anymore. So these are ways we can work with our body.
Are you listening, everybody? Next time you're in a meeting at work, just do that. And then go down your arm in front of the boss, and everything will be fine. I promise. You won't look like a lunatic. There's stuff you can do.
Oh my gosh, like I'm the weirdo who's always doing this stuff in public. And I used to live in this small beach town, and they called me Energy Lady because I was always like walking around, like doing weird stuff. I'm like, I'm just calming down, guys. But it works.
I bet you loved it though. Yeah, it definitely works. It definitely works. I think one of the problems with approaching all this stuff is because I mean it is in the European and Western myths. It's just a lot more hidden, and when we come across it in the Eastern traditions, it's so unusually put. It's not very Western medically, and so it's difficult to wrap our heads around or even believe. And having so few people around us that actually do this stuff, you don't have an exemplar to look at. Say, yeah, the energy lady around the corner, when she says when she does that, everything's fine. So so I think it's important that we have pioneers like you, and a little bit like me, and some of the other people that we know, actually willing to be crazy enough to go out and do this, and be brave enough to, to try it, and then to admit that it works to people. Because even when you're saying it works, look, I can show you, you still get funny looks. Well, I do anyway.
Yeah. Well, I've been practicing for almost 10 years now. And what I use specifically in my practice, my go-to is tuning forks. So if you think it's weird telling people to touch their body in certain ways, which is terrifying to most people to even like intimately touch themselves, it's even harder to be like, this is going to help you. Let me ding this around you. And it's going to make you feel all better. You're going to feel so relaxed. It's like, it's such a learning curve for people to understand the physics of our existence and where we fit in the cosmos, and that we are the cosmos, and that we are a song, and we are vibration and energy. And it's all these fundamental qualities that we've lost. And so, apart from my practice, my really big passion is like, hey, remember that you're super magical naturally. Like, you barely have to do anything. You just have to remember that you're powerful. And then you just have to practice different things and see what works for you, because I love tuning forks, but not everybody wants to learn how to use them. There's other things that you can do to alleviate stress and anxiety and prevent chronic illness or repair it. Because like when we experience illness, sorry if I'm jumping around, but when we experience illness, our body cannot heal itself in a state of constant stress. It's impossible. We cannot be stressed out all the time and think we're going to get better. You have to create these little pockets so we can like relax, and then the body takes over, So it's just finding something accessible to the brain now so that you can see the effects for yourself, and then you can branch out. For anyone watching this who's like, this is weird, but I'm open to it. It's really just grabbing something that really resonates and then going into that reality tunnel. Yes. So this isn't the only one.
No, there are different things for different people. This stuff's been done for so long. People with many different personality types have had a go at it and found different things out. But I do think sound is the main analogy for the energy. And so, looking towards sound. I mean, even simple things like a lot of the old gods had names like Iao, like Ialdabaoth and guys like that, and even Yehovah. And what that is you are supposed to intone. The I would be like your pineal because it's got an E to it. And if you make that kind of noise, you can literally direct the sound up towards your pineal or wherever you want to put it.
Yeah.
And then you got always lower down, then right at the bottom, and you can vibrate your lower chakra, as it were. And just having that simple practice and going, oh yeah, something does happen. Oh yeah, I do feel a little more invigorated. Oh yeah, I can do this myself with sound. It's actually really simple. And then you do what I did, and one of your friends has got loads of gongs because he's a bit of a hippie, and then he's suddenly at a festival, and you go, oh, hello, mate. He goes, come have a gong bath. And then you do, and you go, oh my word, that is the best thing that's happened to me all week. The fantastic gong baths. I love them.
That's how cool Ryan is, guys. Your birthday was this week, and you got your friend did a gong bath for you. That is like such a great way to spend some time.
A bong and a gong.
Yeah.
I didn't actually have a bong. I just thought it sounded funny.
Yeah, it works well. And you're mentioning the voice, and that's like really helpful for everybody to consider who hasn't tried sound therapy or energy work before, is that like you don't have to use your hands, you can use your voice, and you can vibrate every cavity of your body with your voice. And it's really crazy cleansing and relaxing. It works with the vagus nerve, and it's like pure magic. It's such a gift to be able to do that.
I think one of the things about it as well is the actual tool you're using to do that is your own voice and your own breathing and your own thoughts. So you're naturally kind of meditating, concentrating on it. You've got one point of consciousness, which is an important early stage of meditation. And you're doing a breathing practice while you're doing it because you have to.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the tricky part. That's like the trickiest part is the breath. You're like, where do I breathe?
I used to be a rapper, so I actually found breath work then, really. Sometimes when I'd be in a studio recording a song and it was particularly like long paragraphs that I had to get out in one breath, you just learn to control it that quite finely. So being a singer, being a rapper, being a public speaker, you actually have a little leg up there, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've been singing since I was a little kid too. That's like super good point. You have more experience when you're practicing singing and stuff because you have to learn where to take your breath, especially stuff like rapping. Yeah. If you're doing like fast raps, that's hard.
Yeah. All long
really
ones.
hard.
I think for singing as well, you need to learn how to control where the voice comes from. So Are you doing it from the diaphragm? Oh, that's really low. Do you need to go to the back of the throat? Oh, that's really high. And you naturally taught these things. It's your body. What other tools do you have to do this other than your own body and a few tuning forks?
Yeah. And if you don't have tuning forks, you have everything that you need. You have a body that you were given that knows how to repair and heal itself. It's just that the wisdom has kind of fallen by the wayside through the overtaking of the knowledge from our lineages, right? So like it's all been made into something that can now make money for everybody. Yes. So I was talking to someone recently about this. We were talking about like urine and ejaculate and saliva and what the difference is when you pass different like drugs or chemicals through the system. Then like, how do you know which one you're going to use for what purpose and stuff like that. And just a casual conversation. Okay. She was asking me, she was like, well, what do you think? Because, what organ do you use and this and that? And I was like, that's a great question, because I know that for my practice, there are energetic imprints in each organ. And with tuning forks, I can talk to organs, and they all have personalities and features that are crazy. Some of them even have voices. But that information about our physiology and the medical practice of using the organs in this way and using the human body as a tool for medicine is probably entirely forgotten, unless it's in some small tribe somewhere and they're not telling anybody. They're like, we've seen what happens. We're not telling anybody about this shit. So I'm like, I don't know. That's a good question. It would probably take us like a very long time of experimenting and probably some people dying in the process to figure out how we're going to do this.
Yeah, it's I mean, this kind of stuff, because even when you look at the masters in the Qigong world, a lot of those guys die early because of the practices and the lineages that they come from. A lot of them have heart attacks, and a lot of them die from cancer. There's one of the most famous guys to do Qigong stuff is Dynamo Jack Chang. He died quite young of cancer. Most of them die of heart attacks because a lot of the guys that I'm looking at are martial artists, so they're actually using it as a force to push things or give people proper chi therapy, where it's like an electric shock pretty much, but they're bringing it up through the heart or near the heart. So I think they're having strokes and such, and having all that energy in your body without being able to ground, it's not good for you. It's too much, especially if you're not at peak health. And a lot of these guys, they're in the 50s and they're still doing it the same.
Yeah, I wonder what that's about.
I think there's so much energy in the body, it's overriding the electrical field of the heart is what it is. And because it is for that one purpose alone, they're not really into healing as much, not healing themselves, heal other people. It just, maybe you have a nightmare or something like that, or a dog jumps out and there's adrenaline and it's going to fuck, and then it's over. It might just be the diet. It might even be coincidence, but I don't think so.
They're just so chill.
Yeah, well, I think that's part of it. You need to be really relaxed. You need to, like, we were talking about stress. You need to not have stress, like not allow the stress in the first place. I think is the key for the higher arts anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because the heart has like a very, very, very complex and unique energy system. It has the biggest field in our entire body. So the electromagnetic field of the heart is the largest of any organ in our body. It's massive. I think it even goes further. Yeah, it definitely goes further than our actual biofield. So when I'm using tuning forks, I'm working in the biofield. So it's the electromagnetic field that is everybody's unique personal atmosphere that holds a lot of information and memories and patterns and thought forms. So the heart's even bigger than that. It goes out further than the 5 feet from the body. And like even the triple warmer can't siphon energy from the heart. The field is just like its own unit. And it's super important in magic workings too. Like you build the magnet through the heart to attract your desires. That's where that happens. It's like that Erosian spark ignites, but it's the magnet of the heart that draws it in.
Beautiful. Yeah. That's the main one that you've got to open, and strangely the most difficult one to open. Maybe those guys that were getting heart attacks didn't have that open.
Yeah.
Maybe we're mean-spirited bastards. I don't know.
Or they're
just
maybe they're just so chill every single day, and then one little thing happens, and it's like it's too much. Yeah. That's it.
Could be.
Yeah,
you can't ask them. That's the only unfortunate thing, because they're not here anymore. Yeah. But there's a famous alchemist called Thomas Vaughan, a Welsh fellow, and he was one of the first of the British alchemists to start to let on what alchemy really was. That it wasn't about changing lead into gold. It was all the cleaning and the elevating of the personality and the use of the body's energies. And he and his wife were practitioners. I think they were doing a lot of sexual stuff, and his wife died of it. I can't quite remember what happened because it's a while ago, but it was something similar to a heart attack, and she was quite a young woman at the time. But they were tinkering too much and getting a bit too into it, I think, and it killed her. So these things are recorded from a long time ago. It can be dangerous work. But so can everything.
Oh, yeah.
So just be careful.
Magic is dangerous.
Sorry? Magic is dangerous. Yeah. Yep.
Like,
it's fun.
Everybody can do it, and there's different levels, and you can really do some easy peasy lemon squeezy type of magic. But like when you get into sex magic and stuff like that, it's dangerous.
It's good, don't it? Right. So can you just give me 2 secs? Because sure. My battery's just plummeting. I think it's because it's quite cold out here.
Cool.
So sex. That's good, isn't it?
Yeah. But like that Apollonian magic and the Erosian magic and using that, applying those forces into sex magic as one does, or, being too specific is super powerful. Like I don't want to scare people from experimenting with this stuff because we all probably want to do it if we don't already do it, but just make it more general. It doesn't have to be so specific. Huh?
Don't focus too hard in one place.
Don't focus on a person. Don't try to hypnotize somebody to fall in love with you. It will backfire. And yeah, just use it for your body. Use it for love. Use it for general goodness. It's very, very powerful magic. So baby steps. That's all.
Well, what would you say would be a good first step for everybody like that? I've got one actually. I've got a good first step. You don't even need somebody else there to do it with. You can all do it tonight on your own. So you got to be conscious that you're about to have an orgasm, and then when you're having the orgasm, just release. I heard an Indian fella say, "I give everything to Shiva." At that moment, it just gives up everything. And what that means is relax. Just completely relax yourself. Almost to that same point I was talking about before with that feeling inside your bones. And what you can do is, as long as you're not thinking, as long as you're not engaging in that rush too much, that rush of the orgasm, you can actually have the orgasm, not just kind of come up to your belly area and shoot out the front for a man. I don't know what it's like for a lady. But you can actually have that feeling go all the way up your body, all the way to the tips of your fingers and the top of your head, and you even get a little feeling above the top of your head, strangely. But that's a secret for another time. And all this is relaxation and maybe a little practice, but I think at our age we've all quite a lot of practice of doing it by now. But yes,
that's a very healthy way.
You're going to tell us an unhealthy way?
No, that's a very healthy way to practice.
Oh, an
I just
unhealthy
like
one. That or you to tell us something that's dangerous.
dangerous would be focusing on an object of desire and then sending that energy to bring that person to you or to affect them in some way. And that's where like the succubus incubus stuff comes from, when that can potentially result from doing those types of like love magic workings. Like you don't want to be too specific in that way, but if you want to use sex magic for your health and for it is just a type of energy work, right? It's when we start to involve love and specific desire, like selfish desire.
Yeah, it's a moral issue, isn't it? Essentially, it's that. Look, what if it works? What if this person that you've been desiring for a while and doesn't actually want you, and you have managed to have the spell work, and then they're with you and they're not happy, and you love them, and if you really love them, you want the best for them, and they're not happy with you, or the whole thing's false.
Yeah.
That's not good. It'll eat you alive.
Don't we see this a lot too in Greek mythology as well?
Yes, it's very much like this in Greek mythology.
Yeah.
I think the point in the Greek mythology is a discussion of the energies interacting with the psyche. I think that is basically what the myths are.
Yeah. And it always just like blows up in people's faces, right? It's like, you've done it now.
The classic one is Hephaestus, the Greek god of forges and such things, who's actually the autonomic system in the body. He falls in love with Aphrodite and wins Aphrodite, but really Aphrodite's only ever going to want Ares. It's Venus and Mars. The masculine wants the feminine. They're in this polar coupling by their nature. You can't actually ever pull them apart. To have one is always to have the other, the yin and yang. Hephaestus thinks he can keep Aphrodite. Oh no, she's off with Mars, because that's the other side. That's where the pole is. It's you can't change nature. You can't change physics in that way. You can hope. You can live in a lie, but Venus ends up with Mars every time.
Yeah,
that's
a beautiful example. Yeah.
Seems we're going for the mix.
Yeah. Tell me more about your how you feel like you relate to that Mars energy so much, because I've heard you say in the past that you've learned to really understand and connect with that energy. You mean in a masculine way? Just generally as a man connecting to the Mars energy, or is there something else there?
Yes, in the masculine way. My father died when I was 17, and we didn't. He was a great provider, and there was not much trouble at home, but we didn't get on very well. And he wasn't the kind of. He was very stoic, my father, but didn't pass much on. And so, 17's young for a young man anyway when he went. So I kind of didn't have that father figure. I did have Star Trek The Next Generation, though, with Patrick Stewart as Jean-Luc Picard, who was I'm serious, he was a great father figure. And I've always been a martial artist and enjoyed the masculine side. I really like being a man. I find the male bonding and those parts of being a man that are pretty exclusive to being a man, I really do thoroughly enjoy. But I don't particularly like being around blokey blokes, as we call them in England, like, the kind of guys that go to watch football or drink the beer. I've never been like that. I was a sensitive child. So for me, if I was to talk the gods, my real god would be Mercury, who is Mars and Venus, as it were. So I like to bind the two. That goes into my politics, that goes into my morality, that goes into my magic. because I see there are two powers there, and you've got to have them both, and you've got to balance them both. However, being the artistic type, it's actually more. It was easier for me to go towards that Venus-y, more mercurial, stroke Venus-y side. So the thing about the Mars side is actually a lot more difficult. There's a lot more sacrifice and things required of you. In fact, kind of the archetype of Mars is one of saying no and sacrifice when it's good. Obviously, there's a other side to it, but the more serious side is that the awareness of the energy around you and power to say no to certain energies. So, funnily enough, that took me to the stoicism of my father, but with the care and the love of my mother. And here we go, we got these two sides again. But I think what's good about and fun about Mars is the watching the interplay of the energies. Really, that planet Mars is the energy itself, is the life force in action in the world, and watching that and playing with that. And you look, even in simple things like doing martial arts, how do I hold your arm in a certain way so I can actually touch the bottom of your foot? You know, I've kind of got you in a funny position and I can take you over that. You know, just watching the energy. You're doing it, for me, you're doing it when you're doing your tuning forks. You're being Venus, but you're finding the Mars there. And you're going, oh, there it is. And then you become Mars and start to play with that energy. You say no to that energy, but yes to this one. So I think if you are into the energy stuff, Mars is the guy. Plus, you only ever achieve anything when you're working and disciplining yourself and putting energy into things. So, you know, this martial side of us is the achiever, gets things done. The Venus side being the awareness of deficit in the first place. I need this thing. I'm not very happy. You know, my house is in disrepair. That's that Venus awareness, and then Mars goes and does the work. So you need both sides.
Yeah, I love that. There has to be the polarity, you know?
Yes.
And I was just mentioning this in Snappy's tarot class. We were talking about, we were going over the Empress card. And those first like 3 cards in the tarot are so, especially when you're doing it through Crowley's system with the Book of Thoth. Mm-hmm. It's so complex, to say the least. Like I've read this book like so many times. I've like paper clips from a decade ago still in my book, and I still am learning different things every time. But yeah, this is reminding me of that. And he says it in the book. It's like 0 + 1 - 1, right? So then you have the polarity birthed from that. So you're not really looking at the magician and the high priestess as being 1 and 2 or male and female. You know, they are those energies, but they're more of like a primordial, etheric, almost impossible for us to understand type of energy. And it's not until we get the Empress and then the Emperor that we get those initial polarities of male and female. And I don't know why, but this is just... It's like you've got the void and then you've got the positive and the negative. They cancel each other out, but they create the foundation, you know? So the canvas is there for creation.
Yes, absolutely. It's so like as you say, at that point, being number 1 and 2, they are very abstract and barely cognizable, very ephemeral, very ethereal. But you've got those 2 simple things there. You've got the consciousness as the magician and the unconscious as the high priestess. You've got the energy in the matrix. You've got the very basis of duality, as you just said. But you can also find that basis of duality in that first card of the Fool, which is also the last card, which is what we were saying a minute ago about this stress, about all these stresses of life. The Fool's card 0 is not stressed because he's a fucking idiot and he's too stupid to pay attention to the stresses. By the time he becomes the last card, he's now so wise that he's able to use his faculties of Mars and Venus, recognize stress, and then say, I'm not going to get stressed. I'm not going to get depressed. I'm not going to go through that spiral of thought. I'm going to do what I can do and then leave the rest to the world, to fate, because, what else can you do?
Yeah. And that's why he comes back around through the end of the cycle, and he's just like, leap of faith, no big deal.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Wonderful.
And also, it's a lot of fun being an idiot.
Yeah, it sure is. Why so serious,
Exactly. You're going to die.
Yeah.
Most people are very serious because they're going, I'm going to die. It's like, yeah. But you're going to die. All this, in the end, look, even if you have a legacy that lasts for generations, Isaac Newton, Plato, thousands of years, however, the human race, Western civilization will end. The human race might transcend or might be destroyed. In the end, it's all gone.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It would be nice to have a legacy, don't get me wrong. But in the end, there's no point getting stressed about it.
Well, memento mori. It's there. Yeah. It's there for the taking. And
just behind you all the time.
What is that?
I'm trying to live. Not death. Death's always still behind me. Not the picture.
That's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, but it's like you got to remember it, but you also have to not be consumed and overwhelmed by the thought and just learn to see the beauty. Learn to see the beauty in washing your dishes, like the discipline. Find the beauty in your discipline, like you're talking about that Mars energy and how important it is for discipline. Like we need that in our life. We can't suffocate and stifle the masculine and everything. We have to find balance. We have to smile and whistle while we work sometimes, enjoy that moment of peace, find something lovely about it. Think about a poem, watch butterflies out of your window. I don't know, but there's always something there. And even just the taste in your mouth of being alive and getting to even experience the feeling of water and soap and sponge. And wow, I made a meal and now I'm cleaning my plate. Isn't that lovely that I've been able to do these things for myself? So remember, you're gonna die, but enjoy the life, even the hard things.
Especially the hard things.
Yeah.
Especially the hard things.
Yeah. So now that we've depressed everybody.
Okay, everybody, we're going to give you a cleansing now. Shan's going to tune a fork and you're all going to be.
Sure. I've got a 222 hertz here, unless you prefer 144.
We'll go for 222.
222. There is sadness in there.
Yes.
There is. I love this fork because it's not really some forks are for field combing, where we drop into your electromagnetic field and we pick up basically biophotons, but we're moving it through the field. But the 222 is really cool. It's actually a sit with it fork. So it's really good to get you into this nice central space before you do other workings. It's not even necessarily very grounding. It's just sits with you. It kind of makes you feel held. You just sit, you could sit with it and then do toning. And it's just very supportive frequency.
So what is it you're looking, when you're doing your work, what is it you're looking for? What's the feeling you get? And where do you think this feeling's arriving from? Is it similar to dowsing, where you think there's some interaction between you, that vibration, and the person's vibration, you're able to pick up on it? Or does the tuning fork itself slightly change? Or are you feeling something physical in your hand? Or can your waters move? Can you wee?
Yeah, all of those things, literally all of them. And as you practice, you fine tune that deep awareness, and new doors of perception are always opening. So when I first started, I got some really cheap forks off of Amazon, and I had some friends come over my house, and I set up little appointments, and I was just practicing. I'd never taken a class, but I read the book, and I was like, I'm going to see if I can figure this out, because there's no protocols in the books, many books. But I was like, I'm going to give it a go. And the first thing I noticed was that there's actually matter, and you're feeling the density change in the atmosphere around the person in the chair. So as soon as you drop in, activate, ding, drop in, you're kind of like very gently pushing the fork towards the body, and the density will change depending on where you are in the field. So if I was working with somebody who, you mentioned dowsing, so I'll tell you that I do a type of dowsing to figure out what our priority is for a one-on-one private session. For that segue, I don't use crystals for that. I use acrylic ball on a string, which does not hold a charge. It doesn't hold a charge. It's acrylic. It's plastic. So I use it to put over the different chakras, and the muscles in my fingertips respond to the muscles and energy of the client or the receiver, and it'll do a specific movement for this needs work, another one for we're doing all right, and another one for this is an emergency, this is where we're working today. So if I'm working with somebody whose right hip presents, then I'm going to be focusing on the thought forms and patterns that live off of the right hip. And I'm going to start at the edge of their field, outside of the field, to introduce myself and the frequency to the field. I kind of picture the outside of the biofield like I would picture the Celtic weave. The Celtic weave is something that is probably coined by Donna Eden, but I studied under one of her students, Lauren Walker, and we used the Celtic weave in our practices as well. It's basically the container that holds your atmosphere or your field, and it's a bunch of different figure eights. And the more figure eights you have in your Celtic weave, the healthier and more fortified it is. So I always start at the outside, and I always check for holes because people who are under like fluorescent lighting and stuff a lot, or don't ground, or certain things happen, then there could be tears in that weave that need repair. So we could repair those. You get information about ancestral information, parents' experience before conception. And then eventually you'll feel the bubble of the field will let you in. And so it goes from like, I'm stuck, I'm going to keep activating and hang out here until it opens for me, especially for first time receivers. And then it'll open up and I can kind of start slowly moving, activate, slowly move in toward the body. And different things will present. So usually the hips are a lot about how we see, all of the energies really tie together, but it's how we see our personal performance and the relationship that we have to our output. So people who are overdoing so that they get positive things in return, or they're overdoing because they feel like they're not appreciated. And if they work harder and push harder, then, they'll finally get that carrot. Or they see busyness as a badge of honor. I'm too busy. I can't do anything for myself. I'm just too busy working. That stuff is like detrimental to our health. So when I'm working in the field, what happens if I'm working off the hip, then I'm going to pick up on some stuff, and it will immediately change the tone, the overtones of the fork will change, which is what I'm listening to, is the overtones, not the main tone or note of the fork. I'm listening to the overtones and undertones, and that will read emotions, information. Different doors of perception I have since learning to hear the emotions in the fork is messages drop in through the alta major. So it's like a little mail slot, and I'll just be like in the last live session I did on my YouTube channel, I could not get past the word dragons. And I was like, okay, I just have to say dragons if this resonates, because if I don't say it, I'm just going to keep hearing it in my head until I finally say it. And everybody was like, dragons resonates with me. And I was like, okay. So yeah, information will drop in. I see light sometimes. And then these forks are for sounding, but I have other forks like You can see these back here. So these are weighted forks. They have these weights, and they don't really make a sound, but they vibrate, and you can feel the vibration in the base. So this is more on body, but I use them in the field too. They're amazing in the field, but I get really, really, really specific emotional information, and it just like vibrates into me. Also, another door perception when working with forks is I'll feel body sensations. Like I had a client once and I was like, oh my gosh, like got this like pain, the sharp pain in my uterus. And I'm like, oh, and now it's like, it feels hollow. Like it was like, and she was like, oh yeah, I had my uterus removed last year. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like weird stuff like that happens. Yeah. So, all of those things that you mentioned, you know, like it moves the water. Water and salt are conductive. So our bodies are 70% water. The forks work a lot with the water in your body, and they also work on a cellular level, and they actually restructure and rejuvenate cells as well. So you've got
can
like...
Can you stop me there for a second?
Yeah.
Everybody out there, if this sounds like, obviously you're on this channel, so you've faced the woo down quite a few times, but if this sounds a little bit woo for you, don't forget Pythagoras himself, who's the founder of most of these arts in the West, was actually a healer using sound. He would put people's head in a little cavern and resonate vibrations in there and be able to tell what was wrong with them. I myself use a similar thing. I don't use tuning forks, but I get the energy to my hands, and I can literally... This is about as good a superpower as I've got with the energy right now. But I can just put my hand near the areas, and you can feel dead and alive areas, like really quite easily. You just move it over. Oh, there's nothing there. Well, that must be a bad area then. And like you're saying, but there are bubbles somehow. And I've not quite learned how to penetrate the bubbles yet, but I can definitely feel the bubbles in the aura, like little dead spaces or more dense spaces. And yeah, that's as far as I've got. But I just want to assure everybody out there that when Shan said the certain tones do certain things to yourselves, we know this in science, in modern science. They can use certain frequencies to destroy cancer cells or to revive just your normal cells. So it's all very scientific.
It is, and there's a lot of studies. There's actually a study came out, it's been a few years now, but about specifically tuning forks and anxiety. They did actual studies, and the woman that I studied under, I think she participated or pushed for this study to really go through, so we would have something as practitioners to be like, this is on paper, you know, because it does sound woo, but it's all rooted in science here. So there's a lot of people who want to singing bowls are amazing for meditation. They're really great for anxiety and relaxation. But specifically the frequencies of the forks that we're using, they're tuned to certain purposes. And when you tune into them and practice with them as often as I have or other practitioners have, then you start to notice what they like to do. And then you use them for those things. But yeah, I mean, scientifically proven to reduce anxiety for people who suffer chronic anxiety, like hyper amazing results for that. The first thing that it does is relax people. Pretty much everybody says they feel lighter and brighter afterwards, which is cool. But yeah, and that's really amazing what you're saying with your hands and how you don't feel anything, so you know there's something there, because it's almost like it's too dense for your body to reflect off of your hand, and so it feels like there's something blocking it, and so you know there's like a denser something that you can work with. Is that what you're... That's cool.
Yeah, well, I would say sometimes there's a denseness, sometimes there's a light feeling, sometimes there's a nothingness, and I figure the nothingness is the worst thing. Denseness, you can kind of, there's too much there. Nothingness is, there's nothing there. But I don't know, I don't see myself as a healer. I'm more of a teacher. I would like to get into the healing thing, but I have to get to that point.
I'm of the camp that believes everybody is a healer. And I just see what I do as helping other people to facilitate their own healing, to help them to understand it and create space to get new tools and allow it to happen, because you got to be relaxed. So the first thing I do is help people relax so they can at least be in a state to be receptive to healing, get a good night's sleep, recover, restore. But I can also do really amazing things working with different types of chronic illness, emotional disruptions, really chronic patterns that people have a hard time breaking, feeling stuck, like you can't get through something. I've had amazing success helping people to finally feel liberated in their lives, to follow their dreams and actually like go for something for the first time ever. And that is like such a gift to get to be a part of that for somebody else. But we're all healers. We all have everything that we need to do that for ourselves, you know? And so, we just need people like you, teachers, and people who want to show the possibilities that are out there. And it's super cool that you brought up the kind of like the spiritual architecture and the resonance of structure, because that's something that I'm really fascinated by right now. And Neil just got back from Greece, and I like popped on to Snappy's live when he randomly popped on, and I was like, tell me about the structures. Like, did you learn anything about how the structures themselves can promote healing? Because they echo in very specific ways, and they're built to the golden ratio, are they not? In most cases, if not all. And I'm really fascinated by the idea of the ointments being used, and then using something like phonophoresis or sonophoresis, which is basically vibration, sonic vibration, to push drugs into the dermal layer, right? Through vibration to amplify the effects. So I wonder about these structures, and I wonder about how they potentially could have been used, because how would do we even have record of this? What do you know? You're smiling, and I want to know what you know about this.
So okay. So everybody, Shan and myself are on a Discord with a few other people. It's more for kind of people like us that are doing the work rather than just people very interested. And we mentioned mathematical types before, and we do have some very clever people, mathematically inclined, that have worked out a lot of this ancient system of mapping the Earth. And I'm talking prehistoric now. And that in the historic age, that there have been structures built over these map lines over previously prehistoric buildings that are clearly built as resonance chambers. Now, our other smarty maths friends are still too scientifically inclined to accept that these things are probably little energy conduits and healing chambers and consciousness changing chambers, I think, mostly. However, they're all using harmonic mathematics in the structure, in the architecture, in the layout, in the map coordinates. So, yes. So what they don't realize is that the next stage to what they're doing inevitably will be exactly what you just said. So as people like Matt Apocalypse, who anybody out there can see on the last episode of the Amish Inquisition, has pretty much put a cap on it. You know, he's got the maps. He can show where all the temples are and why they're built to these certain numbers and structures. But the next stage, inevitably, is the sound healing stuff. Inevitably, they're just they're just not ready to catch up yet. However, you and I are also in the group, and I also have another friend who's an energy martial artist who I did a podcast with a couple of weeks back. Now I need to post it up. I've been very busy. Getting silly. He is totally into the structures and the energy healing, and he understands a bit more than they do about the temples and whatnot. And I have quite a good knowledge that I'm not ready to splurge yet, because I don't think everybody's quite ready within the group. But maybe in the next couple of months we'll do that. And so I think you and I will be able to lead them down to Crazy Street.
Can't wait.
And then we can turn those great minds to this other portion of the work as inevitably their half of things has come to a conclusion, because they're doing some fucking amazing work, frankly.
Yeah.
Shout out to Melissa, Dane, Matt, and me.
Yeah. Doing incredible work. All you guys are doing amazing work. It's so impressive. And go check out Matt Apocalypse, the most recent video, and you'll get an idea of what Ryan's talking about. Some of the work that Matt has been focusing on specifically. He just finished this like epic video, so I would check it out. And even like Asclepius and stuff, you know, like the sleep and sound. We're gonna be talking about this.
I'm gonna ruin these nice people. That's what's gonna happen. I'm going to get them into serpents and shamanism and sound and all the other S words. Sex.
Yeah.
Because sex is totally involved with it. Sex is so... I'll tell you what, I've come to understand, and we're going to get a little bit rude now, everybody, so cover your ears or your eyes or whatever. I've noticed that a lot of the things that I'm understanding for the energy work are implicit in sex. One of the things that you do in Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, Carlos Castanegra's tensegrity, in some of the old European, British witchy arts. Look, when you see a witch casting a spell, they're doing that with the fingers, stretching the fingers. You do this with your whole body. You put I'm going to stand up a bit. You put kind of like a stretch within your bones, and then it's like not muscle power, but tendon and ligament power. And this is so that the energy has a lack of blockages and a path to travel through your body. Makes sense. When you're approaching an orgasm, what do? You stretch out. One of the first things that goes is your legs. You point your toes. We used to have a laugh when we were young men. Like, where were you masturbating? What you used to say? Where have you been? Pointing your toes. That was just one of the euphemisms for because we're young, stupid boys. But you do a lot of these things that you do. The relaxation I just said about a full body orgasm. But before then, there's the stretching. There's all these things, and most of the energy arts I find are implicit in the autonomic parts of sex. Those things that you do automatically, and you kind of can't help. Throw your head back. Oh my god! You tighten up. And everything connects. You actually align your body would be the best way of putting it. I think that's what it's an effort to do, to align your body.
You connect to the stars. Yeah. Right? It's wild. It's super wild.
Connect to the template, whatever that is. Yeah.
So how could it not be applied to these ancient practices and these magical spaces that, like, must be the golden ratio, must be like this, must be absolute perfection, and no one can do it like us ever. So, like, we're going to use snake venoms and plant medicines, and we're going to slick ourselves in these medicinal oils. And then what? We're just going to sit there? No. We're going to dance. We're going to get crazy. And there's going to be a lot of fucking and a lot of magic, because that's what it is. And everybody connecting to the stars together is like, wow, are you serious? What a party.
It would have been a lot of fun to be a part of. Very destructive if carried on too long, and absolutely frightening to walk into. We're talking about Dionysian madness here, and these guys were really good at making pharmacological potions, so they had good control of you. But I bet you a lot of people died in the process, and there were a lot of disfigurements and organ failures, and bad skin and crazy people that couldn't quite deal with it. But life was short and harsh in those days, so these are technologies applicable to a different age. There were different values back then.
Yeah, we had different priorities, right?
Yeah. And also different imaginings of how the world is, and less taboos. Although part of magic is in breaking taboos.
That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah. Alistair Crowley.
Alistair Crowley it was.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, that is like super exciting because I've been wanting to bring that up to you. Had you thought about the phonophoresis before? Do you know about that?
In the temple?
In the temple. I mean, no. Okay, so phonophoresis is basically like, it helps your body to absorb medicines.
Yeah.
It's like...
what I was asking was, when I said in the temple, is for the sacred or just for healing? I know both are connected somewhat, but there's more oracular, i.e. in the temple, or there's, in the hospital, as it were.
Yeah, I'm thinking... Yeah, in the temple, all of those things, because, we're cautioned in biofield tuning, especially with these weighted forks, like don't use essential oils because if you put the fork on the body, it causes the body to absorb them into the bloodstream rapidly and people can have allergic reactions. So I'm thinking like these beautiful temple spaces with sound going nuts everywhere from people singing and chanting and performing these rites. Would that not create some type of phonophoresis? Because to me, it's like a no duh if you're ever in an echo chamber.
Yes. Yes is the answer.
Yeah.
A lot of these people would, there's tattoos as well. And so a lot of tattoo inks would have been psychedelic. So if you're applying phonophoresis to your skin and you got lots of tattoos, they're going to find their way into your deeper system more easily. They'll end up in your organs and things like that. So...
yeah,
I think it was really important. And to add to that, they cover themselves in snakes as well and allow snakes with the oils on to rub into the bodies. It's very horny. Sounds like...
Well, this is before we were all prudent.
Yes. I think it was the Victorians. I'm very sorry.
And yeah, I think the Christians probably did that. Right?
Christians were dirty buggers at the beginning, though. When you look into Christianity, they were foul.
They were foul, but it was like, I guess because it was on this whole other level that is less beautiful to me. And then how it was also used as a mechanism of control for women. I just see it. It's like, yeah, let's have sexy Jesus pretend to be Dionysus and seduce all the women who know about the rites and want to keep the rites, and we'll convince them to convert to Christianity. And then, surprise, guys, like now women are bad and evil.
Do you know about the? I think that's like part of the Arabic, what is now the Arabic culture, right? That's where that thing's come from. I think, and also a lot of that was tagged in later, because you look at those early Gnostic traditions, and which are more like Christianity was in the beginning, and they're very egalitarian. The women can become priests as well. There's literally no difference. Those things were kind of added on later on. Things got corrupted, as you say. It was used as a control system. But what was going on at the beginning, I don't know if you know about this, is they'd meet in crypts. Families and, lots of people would meet together. They'd lie down on the tummies in crypts. They'd have been brewing beer and growing mushrooms on the corpses. I'm talking corpse beer. Yeah, and they start drinking it, and then they're all at it with each other everywhere, with members of your family and stuff like that. So yes, this is what I meant by you were dirty buggers. Yeah,
there you go.
Christianity is very strange.
Wow.
And you get the as Dion would go on about, you get all these, you're taking in these drugs, and then so you'd lactate them. Young men were prized for ejaculating these drugs as well after they absorbed through your skin or gone up the bum with an alabastron. So you would produce these chemicals, often antidotes in there because your body's already produced them. And not forgetting, if you put things up your bottom, that bypasses all your organs and stuff. So, yes, fun times.
Yeah, I think it was fun times for a lot of people. Yeah. So total change of topic. And I know it's getting late there. I don't know how much longer you want to stay on. We're like over an hour now.
I feel like, because I'm going to stay up till dawn to go and take some more photos for the book. I had to do a dusk and dawn thing because I'm taking photos of these stone obelisks. I just need to get the light to hit the right so I'm staying up all night, basically, talking to you about
on the full moon.
Strange drugs. Yeah, on the full moon. Where are you anyway?
Costa Rica.
What? Costa Rica. Cool. What took you to Costa Rica? Wait, one more question. From where?
Okay. I moved here from Detroit, Michigan in the United States. And it'd been on my radar.
You look like you were expecting me to say something bad about Detroit then. I have no thoughts about Detroit.
No Foley Axel left remarks. That's good. Yeah, so I ended up moving here from there directly. But Costa Rica had been on my radar since like probably 2014 when I left Chicago for Detroit. And then I was like, this is the time. We've been here for maybe like almost 4 years, which is crazy. Time flies. But all I want to do is start a sexy commune with a bunch of Greek freaks and herbalists and live on a piece of land.
As soon as you got somewhere to go, get in touch. I will be there.
Yeah.
Alabastron.
Yeah, you got to bring it. Folks. Yeah, perfect. That's what we need. Yeah, there's some beautiful places up here, like a little bit of ways from where I'm at now is a place called La Fortuna. And you have to pass through Grecia to get there. And it's all natural volcanic hot springs in La Fortuna. So that's where I would want to go. Know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's very cold here.
Yeah. My mom used to live out that way. Now she's back in the States, in Washington.
Oh,
so, yeah. I guess she liked that weather.
Yeah. I went to Chicago a few times. She used to have a girlfriend from Chicago. That was shit. I expect Detroit's a little better, isn't it, than Chicago? It's not quite as violent.
You know what? It's not actually. Chicago is way more notorious for gang crime than Detroit is. Detroit is more notorious for all of the dilapidated, burned down homes. And that's really jarring for your first time there driving through that city because it's just been through some shit. And so there's so many abandoned homes, people burn down homes to collect money or for different reasons as well. But the people are nice and there's not as much crime. And like I had a house in like a horrible neighborhood and I never had any problems. I did come home from work one day and someone had been shot and ended up passing on my neighbor's doorstep. But it was like a freak thing that happened and that was kind of terrifying because I was drunk, but I was like, what? And this cop's like, don't look at him, just go to your house. But that type of stuff was like a freak occurrence. And
same thing happened to me. I used to live in New York and I went to see a friend of mine. I had a really great night. I had a couple of drinks, a few smokes, and I'm just casually walking back home. I saw a policeman, said, don't look over here. And so I looked. And then there was a guy there with no face. I think he'd been shot in the face with a shotgun or something like that. But he had no face. I was like, whoa, that's fucking messed me night up now. Yeah.
Why they got to tell you not to look, right? As soon as they say it, it's like,
I know.
What?
Do you think I have the self-discipline to not look when you tell me to not look?
Yeah.
Might as well say, look, and then I'll not look. Look at this. No, I'm not looking at that.
Yeah. But it was my neighbor's house. And the next day I had her son's phone number because we were tight in our neighborhood. And I called him and I was like, your mom's not going to tell you this happened because she doesn't want to scare you. But this happened and there's blood on her steps. And he came over and cleaned it for her and painted it for her. She's like 90 years old. And people there are actually very wonderful. It's just like weird shit happens everywhere.
Yeah.
Tell me, Ryan 7. About the Sphinx. Tell me something juicy. about the Sphinx.
About the Sphinx, as in the secret of the Sphinx, or just something? Oh, the Sphinx is so many things.
I know that you know that I know. Whatever you are open to divulge that you think is something interesting.
It's all been divulged before, but what could I say about the Sphinx? The Sphinx is actually a being that lives outside time. It collects all time together. I heard Theo Von say something fantastic the other day, the comedian Theo Von. It was a stupid thing to say, as most things that come out of his mouth are, but it was actually full of wisdom. He was talking about being on ayahuasca, and what he said was, there's something about ayahuasca that allows the time that's trapped in your body to be released.
Wow.
Now, by that, he clearly meant memory, but also that memory is time to some of an extent. Memory, you can pass that yourself. I'm not going to go into that.
So then, is that more or less why you think maybe the Sphinx is on the Wheel of Fortune and the little? It's so dark. I'm trying to show you my cool Sphinx while we're talking about it. The Wheel of Fortune card and Crowley's Oath.
So it's on the Wheel of Fortune card because for two reasons. One of them is that the Sphinx gives you the instructions to, the Sphinx is your own body, but the Sphinx gives you the instructions to be able to do all this energy stuff, first of all, and to get beyond time and to be a better witch or wizard. So that is the old aphorism, to know, to will, to dare, to remember. I can't actually remember the last one, but have you heard those ones?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the last one, but we'll pretend that I knew it and you're really impressed. So those are basically, these are the four fixed signs of the zodiac: the bull, the lion, the eagle, and the man. The bull is linked with Venus and is kind of about your actual body and your knowledge of what to accept into your body, what's good for you, what is beautiful, what's really beautiful, and the strength to kind of accept that or not. The lion is your willpower. Leo the lion is the heat of mid-August, and the willpower of you that emanates from your soul is essentially the same thing. It's this light that comes from within and shines outside. That's your willpower. You can activate the world with that sunshine. The eagle is actually a decan. You get, every sign has smaller partitions within it. So the three decans of Scorpio are the scorpion, the serpent, and the eagle stroke phoenix. So the eagle is a, for most, it's a nicer thing to put than the scorpion. Scorpion's seen as an evil thing. It's because your genitals will sting you. You keep following your genitals everywhere. You let those lead you, you will get into trouble. We've all done that. We've all been in trouble. So the eagle's like an evolved form of that scorpion. It's the more, you've put those powers to use, and you using sex for the right things, and using that urge that you have to have sex for the right things.
Right.
And then there's the man, which is, in this case, the intellect. That's the best way to put it. And your knowledge and the intellect. So these are the four corners of you. If you can get those things right, then we're on our way. We've actually relaxed the body, released all these pieces of time within the system, and we can let them go, and we're actually ready to tackle our destiny, whatever destiny is, or to go about your life, or to do whatever it is. Now, we're magicians and wizards and witches, so naturally there are deeper secrets here. at the root of, very, very root of magic is a phenomenon in the universe itself, certainly in our local universe. So, on the, have you got any tarot cards with you? Look at that cheeky smile.
Many. I've got this one here, though.
If you have that'll do. Get a Wheel of Fortune card, please, number 10. So, once she's gone through all 78 cards.
Hopefully not. Jeez. I'm going fast.
Snap.
You think so? You think it's going to be like... Dun, da, da, da.
Look at the size of that card. Right.
It's massive.
Okay, so around this Wheel of Fortune and on the traditional versions of the card are two things that are important to us. One of them is the lion, the bull, the eagle, and the man, as we just said. The other one is the name of God, Yod-He, Vav-He. And we can see on this Crawley card that Crawley stuck himself as the Sphinx incorporated into that beast that we know, which is a lion sitting down with wings and a human face, usually a bull's tail or bull's hooves. Okay, so you can put that down now, Shan. Thank you. I don't want to tie your arm out. We might bring it back up in a second. So, if we were to count the zodiac, the bull is the second of the zodiac. It goes Aries, Taurus, so the bull's number 2. Taurus is 2, Leo is 5, Scorpio is 8, and Aquarius is 11. When you add, if I've done the math, if I've done it right, when you do the maths on that, you get the number 26. Often you get the name Jehovah, which is the Hebrew name for God, around the outside. You count those numbers up, you get the number 26. And this around a Wheel of Fortune. The Wheel of Fortune is the heavens turning around your head. It's the planets and the stars. It's everything that you can see. That it's fate moving around, so the Wheel of Fortune. And that is the central hub, the actual hub of the axle for the wheel to spin around, which the ancients saw as a null place. It's where there is no time there, because time's happening everywhere else. But at the center of the axle doesn't move. So the idea for the ancient magical tradition, it seems this is very prehistoric, is you wanted to get up to that axle. Now you do this with no movement, no thought, no you. You've gone beyond those 7 planets, which is 7 seals. You've gone beyond the subconscious of the moon. You've gone beyond the wants and needs of Venus. You've gone beyond the intellectualism of Mercury. You go. I'm less. My ego goes. Time goes. Space goes. These are Saturnian. And now we are, as it were, in this axial place. You can do that, and you can go and have the mystical unity. There are things up there that we can discuss another time. But I don't think those are they are very cool and the coolest thing. But when you come back, you can apply some science. Now, we said twice on there's number 26. What's that? Well, you get a day, which is the Earth's spin. You get a year, which is the Earth's rotation around the sun. You get a month, which is the moon's rotation around the Earth. You also get a great year, which is a year by which all the zodiac signs slightly shift. So what zodiac sign are you, Shan?
Pisces.
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 So you are now, so you're back one. So you are, if you were to actually look on the day that you were born and see what star sign rises on the spring equinox, it wouldn't be Pisces anymore. It would actually be Aquarius. I'm Gemini. It would be Taurus now. And that's because of this backward precession, it's called, of all the zodiac signs over 26,000 years, actually 25,920 years. So you get this great year called a Platonic year. It's called many things. Why is that so special and important? Well, when you divide that great year up and pretend it's a normal year, a day is 72. You'll get a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, a season, a quarter year, a half a year, and they are all these super harmonic numbers. 216, 432, 72, 54, 108, 43, you know, all these numbers. And that the universe is seemingly telling us that the whole thing is based on time, movement, harmony, music. Literally, it's the music of the spheres. And this is the ultimate secret of the tarot. It's initiated in that world card and finished. Sorry, in the Wheel of Fortune and finished in the world, also known as the universe. And it's kind of symbolized by the Ouroboros serpent that eats its own tail, because that is the creature. You can think of the vertebrae along a snake's back, or indeed that patterning that you often get along a snake's back. Well, each of those vertebrae would be a different location for the pole star, because that reverse movement of the zodiac is actually made because the Earth wobbles a little bit like a slowing spinning top. So that pole star points in different pole stars all the time, and it actually points at the back of the dragon, which is at the top of the world, which is the constellation Draco. So this is the secret, as far as I can tell, in all of magic. This is the secret of secrets. It informs the map makers. It informs the architects. It informs the musicians that play the music in there. And it is the spiritual technique by which the oracles go up the pole and get to the Akashic record, as we would call it now. As far as we modern magician goes, we have to call it a download, because that's how it feels. It's lots of thoughts compressed into a small frame, literally seconds, and then it might take you a year or 2 or 10, as it has been for me, to pull it all apart. But that's the top of the art, it looks like, as far as I can tell. And that's there in magic, alchemy. It's in the Chinese arts. If you look at the Taoists, they are connecting to the pole star. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what they're doing. And the amount of movements in Tai Chi, like there's a 24 form, which is hours in a day. There's a 72. There's a 108 movements in there. And there are all these same numbers again, which are as much there in the buildings as it is primarily in the music. But again, music and time, frequency, energy, it's all the same shit.
It's all the same. Yeah.
All the same. And
so we basically tricked all of your viewers into thinking that we're like not down with math. But if you've made it this far, then you've been rewarded with all of this delicious goodness related to numbers and how important math and numbers really are to the fabric of existence.
Yes.
So that was really beautifully put. Thank you. I appreciate that.
I've had practice. I've had practice now.
Yeah, I know you have, and I hear you talking about this stuff, and sometimes I'm just like, I don't understand where this is coming from, but I need to understand better. And you really just helped me to put it together in a way that for me really resonates and makes sense.
Oh, great. Yeah, I like to keep things simple, I think. I mean, I could pull that apart to the nth degree, but put simply, I think is often the best way to do it.
Yeah, that's great. Actually, I do have a 432 fork over here also. And I've got Fibonacci's. I have a Fibonacci pair. It's just a pair of fibs. And then I have a Schumann pair. And so when you use those, you get that half step, or the step between, for the binaural beat. So if you put it on your head, It's so nice. It's so nice.
I actually produce binaural beats. I used to be I lived in New York because I was a music producer, stroke rapper. But more recently, because I've been concentrating on, all this stuff, I don't have time to be as creative as I was. But I love to make binaural beats. It's one of my favorite things to do. It can be so easy, and you can tune it in to what you want to do with it. And yeah, there's a few actually on my channel.
Oh, okay.
There's one space cruiser. There's one with you'll see it's got a snake on it in a forest. There's another one in the city. There's a few, and there's one at a campfire as well. Some of them
cool.
it's very overt, and some of them it's such a strange frequency that you can barely even hear it. From listening to one of them was the reason why I got in touch with Snappy. I'd been trying to do some remote viewing, and I naturally had the earphones in, and then I just started passing out because I was doing it before I was going to sleep. Basically, it was like I used to draw myself to sleep. And just this one occasion, I was trying to remote view myself to sleep, just to burn off that last bit of energy, mental energy. And as I'm passing out, I've gone into a really deep place because of the binaural beats. And an African shaman, kingy kind of guy, came to me, headdress on, very archaic looking. And he just said the word nematon to me. I was like, what nematon? And then I've gone to sleep and then woke up the day after and gone, nematon! What was that word, nematon? Doesn't sound it sounds Greek. It turned out to be a Celtic word, which is very much taken from Greek, for a sacred grove. A lot of these Dionysian rituals would happen in sacred groves. Jesus, when he's caught with that young fellow with the bandage around his parts, where he's absorbing the drugs into his body, he's in a sacred grove. They're basically like wild places, stroke cemeteries, stroke recreation grounds. Just weird places. Ancients were weird. But in searching for that, the very first episode of Occult Explorers, Snappy's and Dion's show was on the Sacred Grove, and I'd been asking questions about something else, about Ganymede, about putting things up your bum. But and it took it. I, saw the Snappy Dion show, and then I've seen Ammon's work and gone, well, this completely answers the only question I had. And then within a few weeks, I'd gotten in touch with Snappy, and I was on the show.
Wow.
So, have you actually? You're doing Occult Explorers this weekend, aren't you?
Yeah. Are you going to be there?
Yeah.
Yep, we'll be there. Oh yeah, that's right. So it's going to be this Sunday, Ninja Time.
Yeah.
Well, Assassins in particular. That'll be really fun.
Ninjutsu since I was 12.
Jiu-jitsu you've been doing since you were 12?
Ninjutsu, the literal art of ninja. Yes, wow. That's what I've done, since I was 12 years old. So I'm going to bore you all to tears.
Wow. I don't think you'll be able to bore us with that long of a lineage of learning about this. I'm like, what I'm talking about is totally different from what you and Dion and probably Snappy will be bringing to the table. So I'm really excited to present my presentation, and also for you guys to constantly interject. so
we get overly excited.
Yeah.
Dion won't interject, but Dion, I don't know where he gets his stuff from. He'll just things you've never even imagined. He's like, oh, there's this, and you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is amazing. How have you got there? I don't know how he does it. Love it.
It's a gift. Yeah, it is a gift. So
and obviously, Snappy's very knowledgeable, like super duper knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And I'm stupid. And mischievous.
Well, I think you're all fabulous. So I'm really looking forward to you interjecting on my presentation so that I can hear your insights on it. And I think that's like the coolest part about those group videos is you get to hear a little bit of everybody's pool coming together into the cauldron till it comes to a nice boil. So we'll be doing that one on this Sunday. And then next Sunday, there's another one. Are you doing Witches Symposium?
No. Who's on that? I've not been asked anyway.
Oh,
He's
okay,
doing
okay.
that, you know. He's what is he examine on that?
Bug. Hold on, let me get
What
this
the fuck
bug
was
out.
that?
There's a bug.
All right.
There's a lot of bugs in Costa Rica. Hold on. Got him.
Is it a cicada?
Oh, I got him. That was a big guy. Oof.
Big.
I smacked him.
It was really big.
He was really big. I smacked him out of here, though. He better not come back. Who's doing that one? Which symposium is going to be What Does the Universe Smell Like? And
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's
raspberry booze and rum.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting and very satirical. So I'm looking forward to it. And I have a lot of wine, so that's how I plan to make it through. Yep, exactly.
It'll be early drinking for you, that won't it? Won't that be early drinking
What'd you say?
for you? Won't
it's going to be like, it'll be 3 p.m. for me. So I'll be nice and tipsy. It's not that bad.
Nice. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's a load. What are you drinking now? Coffee?
This is tea. This is turmeric, lemon, raspberry leaf tincture, and dandelion, just tincture.
This is tea. Just tea.
Nice. Very good.
English tea from India.
Not Earl Grey hot, you mean?
Tea, Earl Grey, hot.
I love that you're a Next Gen fan. I love Next Gen.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm just looking over my notes to see if there's anything else that I really, really wanted to ask you about. But we're coming up on 2 hours, so let's see. Yeah, we pretty much covered everything and then some. I'm so happy about it. And, you were talking just like real briefly, I would just want to mention, because you were talking about the downloads and then how long it takes to kind of integrate that information. And that's one of the things that I love recommending to magicians, because energy work is just magic. That's all it is. So you can see it as just magic working, or you can make yourself feel better and think it's like a wellness movement or whatever, but it's magic. That's what we're doing. And integrating, he's back. I can't believe it. Can you believe it? He came back. So integrating that, the downloads, what really helps me is working with the spleen. So you can work with the spleen to help to integrate, so it's not so overwhelming. And you can even just do like. For us?
Just for everybody out there that can learn something.
Yeah, so when we're talking about the spleen, we're talking about the meridian, the spleen meridian. So it's the energetic highway that goes through the body that also happens to support the spleen. And one place that I really like to focus on is on the side of the ribs here. So if you're a woman, then it's going to land like under your bra strap, around there. But if you just kind of like tap or massage gently around this area, and you can even like come underneath here, like underneath the breast area where that C shape is on the ribs there, that's a part of the spleen pathway. So you tap that on both sides. And because breath is the connector of mind and body, we want to make sure we're using it effectively when we're doing these practices as well. And so you want to make sure you're doing a releasing breath. So you're tapping the spleen and you're inhaling in your nose and exhaling out of your mouth. And you can do it like 3 times and see how you feel. And And then you can shake off your hands. You can give a little flick if it feels good. And then you just tune in and see how you feel. Sometimes you won't notice anything when you're first starting these techniques, but Ryan, you've done a lot of energy work. So you might notice things moving.
Back in my spine, I can feel it lifting up my lungs a little bit, and it's actually kind of pushing up the back of my neck. So it's actually giving my body a little lift, which is I know that the energy is running through me better when I naturally sit more upright or feel pushed upwards. When I'm not slouching, you know what I mean? It naturally makes you sit like a...
Oh my gosh, I'm under attack. Yeah, that spleen. So that's something to remember when you're, anytime you feel overwhelmed or you're trying to work something out, even
you should carry on doing it. Maybe that cicada will fuck off.
Yeah. So the spleen is a really good place. There's like 4 places that I tap every single day in my body, and it's not emotional freedom technique that I do per se, though it does benefit the emotions as a byproduct. But I would just say the spleen is a really great place to tap every day. Kidney. This part of the kidney meridian is going to be a really good place. This is kind of like the on button for your entire energetic system. And if it doesn't feel good to tap anywhere, you can massage, you can go out in the field and tap. It's just as effective. What is happening? There's so many bugs in here. They're like, let's get this stuff. So kidney is really good. It's like the on button for your whole meridian system. So hitting this is a really good place to go. Your thymus to support your immune system. Here, it's like the half step between your energetic heart and your energetic throat. So right here, same thing. You want to exhale out the mouth because that is sending a message that we're releasing. Yeah. So you can do 2 hands, you can do it however it feels good. And then spleen and stomach. Stomach is underneath, drop down from the iris and the orbital bone and tap there. That's a very, very grounding way to end so that you feel fully in your body and complete after tapping around these places. So it's just something to think about.
You have that technique of throwing it off. By the way, everybody, that's what she's doing. She's dispelling the bad energy, as it were. Yeah.
I just like to flick everything and wake it up. And doing this with your fingers is good because you've got beginnings and ends of your meridian pathways or organ pathways on fingers and toes. So it's always good to kind of like flick through. We should get together and talk more about like techniques because I can talk about this stuff all day.
I wish you could come to Puerto Rico where it's nice and warm. That would be nice.
Costa Rica. Yeah, come to Costa Rica. Come visit. Yeah.
When I'm rich and famous, maybe. well, I'm looking to have a little world tour early next year, maybe. So maybe in 6 months or so, I might be able to actually.
Yeah, flights aren't that bad.
Definitely on there. Yeah, no, I'll go to Puerto Rico and you'll have to come and meet me there.
Yeah, I'll be like, oh, he went to Puerto Rico, got to go get him and drag him back to Costa Rica.
Come on, you dickhead.
Yeah.
Bloody English.
Oh, man. Great. That would be pretty funny. Well, yeah, you should come out sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to. This went fantastically well. I'm glad we got... I knew we'd get on. Everybody I've been meeting recently has been really cool. So you're another person on that list.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Lovely to talk to you. Good to have a good laugh with you as well. I think that's the most important thing about this channel is that it's not dour. It's not overly serious. There are so many other channels where everyone takes themselves far too seriously, but I'm the fool. And I'm glad to see you're a fool as well. As a compliment, of course.
Thank you.
Cool. Okay, my witches, wizards, magicians, magicians. Have yourself a lovely day, night, evening, morning, year, whatever you do.
Find my YouTube channel. It's called Modern Medwa.
Shan. Yeah, Modern Medwa. You can catch me on this channel that you're on now. Or if you'd like this video, Shan, you're more than welcome to it. Stick it up on your channel. I'll catch you all next time when I will be talking about something similar but completely different.
Perfect. Bye.
She's trying to get rid of that insect. She's like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck. I'm like, yeah, bye.
I'm playing it off real gracefully.
She's like, you got to stay calm and relaxed. Oh my fucking God.
It was this big, right? Okay.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Cool. Be good. Stay cool. And speak to you again. Beautiful thing. Bye-bye.